Today I'm going to show you a little bit on how to make the SuperBrick stitch. This tutorial is not going to be the main tutorial of it, but it will help you a little bit on how to weave the strings, some ideas of where to weave, what is over and under a little bit I'll explain, and what's the main string on the stitch, who is the main string. So, for example, you can see right now that the main string is the black strings. Of course, don't expect that if you watch all this video, you'll manage to make the stitch on your first try. This is not as easy as you think and needs some practice. So if you watched all the video and made a few tries and still couldn't make the stitch, I'll put some links down below so you can have some direct help from other sites or videos on YouTube. And also remember that I'm not speaking English fluently, so I'm sorry for that. And now let's begin. So I'll show you now how to make the SuperBrick stitch. And first what you need to do is to find the main strings. What I mean by main strings is that we have for example, on this stitch, the main strings are the black strings. That's because you have only one color, black, and all the other colors are weaving on the black strings. So, how do you know what's the main strings for a SuperBrick stitch? And it's pretty simple. The main strings are the same as it were before, so the main strings for the SuperBrick stitch are the two blacks, and we want to move them where they were before. So you can see that this black string, you can see that he's falling from here up to here, so up to this loop, it's this string, and same goes for this one. This one comes from here to here up to this loop. So what it means is what it means that we need to take this black string and put it in between this red and this black, because this loop is in between this red and this black. So you're going to put it over here in between the red and the black, and then same for this one. This one is in between this orange and this black, you can see, because it comes through here up to this loop. This loop is in between this black and this orange. So I'm going to move it up to here. So one is here and one is here. You may notice also that they are now, both of them are parallel to each other, and that's always true. So always your string will be parallel to each other, the two main strings. And now we want to find the string that will be closest to me. So we need to have a string that comes here up to here, because this is the easiest way to one of the easiest way to understand the stitch. So the way how I think of it is, you first start by taking the string that is that will be close to you, and it could be we'll need to find that string. It's not that obvious, and then I'm going to weave the rest by a certain order. So how to find the string that will come over here, the border that is near me. This is the border it's near me. So I'll show you the solution. It's going to be this red string. And okay, let's show you the solution, then I'll show you why it's going to be this red. So you can see that if this red is, I have your blue thingy. If this red is over here, and if I keep these black strings, you can see that this red string will never go off. You can see I try and twist and it will never go off. And that's why in any stitch, any string from this side, when I go over under, because over under is always the case. So over under, what's over under? Over under is basically when I go with this red string, I have to go over this black and under this black. And if I go from one of these strings, I'll need to go over this black and under this black. So for example, this one, we need to have over this black and under this black, for example. You can see. So how do I know that this is going to be the red and the edge that is near me? Is because you need to think it that way. So for example, you need to check all of these three strings. Which of these three strings will be close to me? So you can see this is going to be red. And also over here, which string will be closest to me? This red, of course, okay? So it's either this red string will be at the border or either this one. I don't know. It's different at each kind of stitch. So for a SuperBrick stitch, it will be this one. For a corkscrew stitch, it will be this one. So it depends. But how do I know it's going for a SuperBrick is going to be this one? It's because I'll test. So if we go, if for example this one is going to be the border, so it has to stay at the border when I weave. So if I weave this over under, and I keep the black strings, you can see that if I pull, what will happen? You can see, boom. Let's show you again. If you keep the black strings, I have a way to pull it off. You can see, but if I have this, red string, I will never find a way to get it off when I hold the black strings. I can never find a way. So I can, of course, I can push over here, but we want to keep it at this side that it's closest to me. Okay, so now I'm going to weave the next string. The next string will be on this side. It is close next to me. So I need to find now again, out of these three strings, what will be closest to me? The red. So I'm going to weave a red. And when I weave this red, you'll find out that you can hold the stitch without holding the strings. Why? It's because you have now a box stitch. You can see that the black and the reds, the two blacks and the two reds form a box stitch. And when you have a stitch, any stitch, it will be hard to get it off. So when you have a box stitch, the stitch will hold on because this red cannot go farther here. This red cannot go farther here. Of course, if I want, I can do like that, undo it, but if you don't undo it, it will stay without holding the strings. And now because we've done, started from here and came over here, I'll continue this way. So we're going to, next string will be the closest next to me, the string that is closest next to me on this side. So it's going to be the gold, because it's closest next to me. I'm going to weave, and now I need to still hold the strings because it will fall off if I won't hold it. So you can see, if I won't hold the strings, it will come off the stitch. So you need to keep it a little bit, but don't worry, after a little bit of practice you can do it fast. And next string will be the closest next to me on this side, because we've done this side, now we need to have this side. So again, it's going to be gold. and now the last two strings. So the last two strings is these two. So I want to, okay, so what you can do now, you understand that if I keep the pattern, I need to go this one over this black and under this black, and then we need to keep the strings and then need to weave this one. But if you understand a little bit, you can see that if now I continue with this one, and then what will happen is I'm going to lock this string. So if I do like that, if I do, instead of weaving first this orange and weaving before that, I'm going to weave this orange. If I do it now, I don't need to hold the strings again, because this string will never come off, because again it's locked into these black strings. It will never come off, and that's good because you don't need to hold now I don't know, 8 strings. You can do whatever you want and to never come off. Okay, so now comes a little bit tricky. You need to take this orange string and you need to take it from a start, and so that this gold and this orange won't bother us. And then when you sure it's like over here or not in between, not for example over here, or I don't know, over here, you need to have it directly in between this gold and this orange, and then you need to weave it in between this orange and this gold. So over this black, under this black, and in between, you need to have it in between the gold and the orange. And that's it. Now you just need to pull the strings. You can do it like that. So for example, it's much easier pulling the strings on a SuperBrick stitch than pulling strings on a box stitch even. You just need to pull all the 3 strings here, and then pull the black strings, and then again, and another little bit. And that's it. So you can do also pull a little bit like a box stitch, and that's it. So this was this short tutorial, and I'll see you next time.